Prof. Jamal's workshop this morning, the third session, which is on evaluation skill. Unfortunately, our moderator couldn't make it this morning, so I'll be replacing him. Um, and I hope everyone's having a peaceful and a fulfilling Ramadan. And inshallah, this morning's session will benefit us in many ways, and inshallah, Allah will reward us tenfold for our efforts. I present Prof. Jamal Bashir Badi, who's an expert in critical thinking and creative thinking skills. I present. Let me take the floor, Prof. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna ilman ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Amin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to our third session on critical thinking skills based on Delphi report. And we'll try also to link it to research methodology. And our skill today is the third skill, is evaluation. Okay, evaluation. Okay. Firstly, a definition for evaluation. Evaluation is the process of judging the quality of something. Evaluation is the process of judging the quality of something. So like in order for our research to be also a good research, it will be also judged in terms of quality. Okay, and the researcher, it will be evaluated based on this skill. Okay, so if we proceed, or when we do our research, conduct our research, if we practice this evaluation skill, our research will be of a good quality. Otherwise, it can be, let's say, questioned. Why? Because it involves assessing the credibility of statement and the logical strength of arguments. So when you write your research, there are a lot of statements, and these statements need to be not only logical, but to the extent that that the strength of the logic that we use, that so that the data and whatever we write and whatever we share in our research should be in a good logical strength for all the arguments that we make in the thesis. This is the stage where you determine the worth and believability of information and claims. You will be making claims, right? So the stage here means the skill that we are using in our research evaluation is to determine the worth, does it worth it, and the believability of information that we share, that we claim, or also others claim. Not only us, but also could be a claim by someone. We quoted, you quote, you quote someone, okay, and also you are responsible for that quotation, because some students, they think if they quote someone, another scholar or writer, or they think that that is enough. But whatever the quotation is, it needs to be tested first by the writer and looked at in terms of determining the worth of that information that they share. The Delphi report defines evaluation as the ability to assess the credibility of statements. So that's the definition of the Delphi report itself, to assess the credibility of statements. By the way, as we will see in some of our exercises today, we need it not only in research, to practice evaluation. We don't need it only in research. We need it in all our life, daily life, practices. You come across, like, especially now, the media. All of us, we use media. We are exposed to media. So in the media, whether it's the news, whether any other form of or source of information, we need to practice this skill, evaluation. Otherwise, you will be confused. You will be, you don't know, because now also there are clashing sources for information. Okay, whether it's the news, whether it's any, or if you are also, let's say, whether it's Telegram. Now Telegram has many, what you call it, sources for knowledge, and for information, even in what we might say in different areas of disciplines, different areas of disciplines. This is to be practiced in all disciplines, okay? And also in all our life, walks, or, whenever we are faced with data, information, or we need to exercise this kind of evaluation. So to assess the credibility of statement, we will go through how the evaluation today, how this evaluation can be okay, how it can be done. How can we do it? We will go through slowly through the report itself. or based on the report, actually. Okay. But before we go to the sub-skills, we start having a look at why evaluation matters. Well, as I said now, even all our daily matters or daily exercises with regard to dealing with information, okay, and data. Why evaluation matters? Well, this is just another way of emphasizing the importance of evaluation, this skill. Evaluation helps you to make good decisions and separate reliable information from misinformation. Now, just imagine whether it is like, nowadays, so we have different sources, websites on the internet with regard to different issues, okay? Whether it has to do with news, as I said, advertisement, or any other sources of information. The report highlights that critical thinking helps people to overcome the blind, sophistic, or irrational defense of intellectually defective, or biased opinions. So when you go through arguments, we talked about arguments, any argument that is presented before you, okay, this you need to test, you need to evaluate, okay, because to see whether something is reliable or defective, or it is biased, especially, as I said, when it comes to social media now, or for our students when it comes to different also whether it's journal articles, whether it is books, okay, your references, you are referring to references, okay? Don't simply just let's say this is one area for the good research. Don't simply pick up a quotation, even though you think that it is related to your research, without evaluating such quotation or piece of information or argument. You need to be sure that whatever is written in your research, either by yourself or by others, that it is reliable, okay? And that it has been, you can see here at the bottom, there is an example. You can use evaluation to decide whether a news story is from a credible source or a biased one. And today, when it comes to news, everyone is maybe following up with certain events, but some of not just some, many of these sources might provide biased information, biased arguments. This is especially like in what is going on those days, okay, where people from different sides, clashing sides, who are, they're doing their best to support their argumentation that what they claim is true. Okay, so we have to examine those arguments, those information. Why? Which this will prevent you from forming an opinion based on misinformation. That's why you might, when you, whether it's in research or now it's political issues and the news, you can see, like people, friends, whenever people meet each other and they have discussion, you can see that they are maybe taking different sides, different judgment regarding an issue. So before you go into discussion also, or share any information, same thing should be said about research. We have in the Viva, I'm attending a number of Vivas. So like you can see that sometimes we have even proposal defense and Viva, where you see that people maybe have different views. Why? Simply because of this matter. Something has not been verified, or something, an information shared, but it's not reliable. Okay, getting started with the evaluation. Okay, the main thing in this slide is the report includes that assessing claims and assessing arguments as sub-skills of evaluation. So we have two sub-skills. We started with evaluation as a skill. We have two sub-skills. So we have assessing claims and assessing arguments. Okay, how to do that? Okay, so try to judge whether the information presented is believable and well supported. Is it well supported? A simple example is a claim. Okay, I gave you, this is from something from real life, which we might run into regarding advertisement that certain pill will make you lose 10 pounds in a week. Let's say for those people who maybe this advertisement looks like appealing or attractive and appealing, without testing, without evaluating, you might run into doing the wrong thing. The judgment here can be followed by what? That an action, and this action will be maybe not in favor for you. It's not good. Okay, so we have to be careful So you would like to, evaluate whatever the claim in front of you by looking for evidence. Is there an evidence? Not just testimonials. Now, for these kind of advertisements, usually they what they base their what we call it claims on testimonials. So they bring 2, 3, 4 people. They tell you we have tried or did this kind of product, and we got such and such. And well, like some intellectuals say for the testimonials, this is just they said, now you have seen the testimonials of 3 or 4. Maybe there are different testimonials by other people, but it's not shown to you, not shared with you. There could be hundreds, there could be dozens or 100 testimonials, which is totally what you call it, different. And one example, since we are talking about critical thinking, we are talking about, the also evaluation, especially like, alternative medicine. Be careful. How many alternative medicines now in the market? There are, how many? I'm sure that there are maybe dozens of these alternative, what so-called alternative medicines. So unfortunately, most of this business is based on wrong testimonials, and people are being fooled. People are being fooled. And as a result, I know cases, following certain cases, the people paid thousands. Okay, I know real stories. The person ends up with a big problem, health problem, with a big health problem by using such, even though they spent thousands of their money. So be careful. This is important. Now we go to sub-skill 1, assessing claims. Okay, assessing claim means judging whether a statement is believable. If maybe you tell me, what about you are talking about scholars, okay? Just imagine that when you deal with also different scholarly, what you call it, claims or judgment, claims, okay, or judgment, they also, whether it is in tafsir, whether it is in any other history, whether it is in any other discipline, social science, now we have different views that we have different interpretations, different understanding, different this, different that. So we have to be careful. That's why whether in research or let's say articles, also you are asked to to publish an article. So I am what we call it, also have been appointed as some journals, academic journals, as an assessor. Okay, there is a form. Okay, sharing with you. In the form for assessing an article, you send the article, then I want to assess the article. There is a form, maybe 3 pages, 4 pages. And in that form, one of the questions, like a tajdid, they say whether the writer, the author, has considered the other views. Like you what you call, you share or whatever you are writing is based on one side, one view, but maybe there are other views by other scholars. You understand? Or those authorities in the field, experts and authorities in the field. So they ask one of the question: did the author consider the other clashing views? Especially whatever we are writing about now is something should be, like also related to contemporary disciplines. I mean, dealing with different disciplines and inputs, which are related to our times. And usually, like, we have many views, many claims by others, by different people. Okay, even different theories. There are different theories. So we need to, a good research and a good academic article is the one which considers clashing views. This is very important in research. Maybe, and it wouldn't be acceptable in the Viva to say, oh, I am not aware. You come the last day in the Viva, you say, the examiner will ask you, do you know that there is a different view? Or sometimes it could be a stronger, this is a more important. The view that you did not consider is actually stronger than the view that you considered. So in this case, it's a serious observation in research. Okay, so and the Delphi report notes that an ideal critical thinker is trustful of reason. Trustful of reason, number one. That's in assessing claims. Trustful of reason. Okay. You may, let's say, whatever the argument that you write or you share, quotation, whatever, there is a reason. You say, oh, there is a reason. Is this reason trustful? Is it trustful? Okay, maybe these reasons, once it is evaluated and assessed, is actually not trustful. If it is based, like on a weak stand or view, Okay. Number two, it should be also that ideal critical thinker is fair-minded in evaluation. Fair-minded. Okay, you said, oh, I have already referred to the two different views, okay, or different arguments, or different whatever scenarios, different. Another challenge is we need to be also fair-minded, which means that don't take, you have to be neutral, not to take stand for one view without a good support. You know, like many studies now, research is based on comparative method. So you are making comparison. You have to be, to have fair-mindedness. Means that to you want to follow whatever is strong, reliable, and trustful. But the one of the challenges, just sharing with you, is like you sometimes you are in favor. Let's say there are two, you are referring to two, what you call it, authors or experts in the field. But let's say you favor one of them. Oh, this emotional, they call it this emotional bias. It's an emotional bias. It's because you are favoring. It's not in research, in academic writing, we should avoid, being in favor for one side, or without what relevant supporting evidence or argument. So even when you discuss in your research, you have to be also fair, and you have to have a fair-mindedness, okay, in order to let's say whether which one is, let's say, more looks more trustful, more reliable, more. So in doing so, you have to be fair and have fair-mindedness. Okay, how to learn assessing claims. Okay. When you hear a claim, if there is any claim, we are talking about claims now, always ask, how do you know that? What is the source of this information? Some of my friends, or, like colleagues, they sent me a very important claim in the, let's say, in the events that we are living today, let's say. So simply, he's my colleague or my friend, or when I look at what has been claimed, I ask my colleague or my friend, where is the source? You are claiming that such and such person, let's say, has declared something or said something. Okay, where is the source? I say, there is no source. Some of them, unfortunately, they said, most of them, do you know what they say? This is the way I received it. You are, and those people, like they are doctors, like you are a PhD holder. So saying that, oh, this is how I received it. Then, okay, that's why don't share. So even in the research or in the WhatsApp or other Telegram or other media sources, don't share something before assessing the claims, the judgments, the information. Okay. So the critical thinking requires you to consider the evidential, you're talking about evidence, conceptual, methodological, okay, criteriological, or contextual considerations. Oh my God, just imagine all these. Evidential, you are talking about evidence. Consider, so you have to consider the conceptual, the methodological, okay, all these, all contextual. I joined a number of majalis tadabbur, and what I know that these are halaqatul ilm, okay? So, I'm called to attend these jalasat, majalis or majalis tadabbur, reflections upon Quran, okay? So like before you do reflections, you are supposed to refer to tafsir. Number of, not only tafsir, one tafsir, maybe 3, 4 tafsir, before you can go further for tadabbur. That's what will help you decide, the contextual consideration. Sometimes it's very challenging. What is written by a mufassir, so here we are talking about research and research methodology and academic writing. Okay, you are dealing with pieces of information. Sometimes the judgment made by others or the claims that are made by others are not tested, and they are not strong enough. Okay, so we have to be careful. Practice with news headlines. The Delphi report notes that critical thinking or critical thinker uses intellectual criteria, and we have discussed this in one of our previous sessions. Okay, use the following criteria. Maybe you ask, how do I judge claims? How do I evaluate? Okay, in terms of clarity, is it clear? In terms of credibility, is it authentic? Is it clear? Accuracy. Maybe sometimes the problem is some authors and writers and intellectuals talk about half of the truth. By the way, half of the truth. This is a reality. those who write, or those who share information with you or share data, sometimes they do that. It's like they are not accurate. Why they are not accurate? Because they are only sharing half of the truth. For some reason, like we are talking about bias. So for some reason, they share with you only half of the truth, not the full truth. So we need all of us to use this criterion of accuracy is what we are. And this is, by the way, that's why Umar ibn al-Khattab, I want to share with you, says, حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. It's not only for akhirah. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu is talking about akhirah. But this is, by the way, this statement by Umar ibn al-Khattab applies to your research. Like حاسبوا أنفسكم أيها الباحثون والباحثات. So researchers, حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. So that's what I try to relate what has been said by Umar radiallahu anhu also to our research and to our discussion today. So like those who examine your thesis, they will look at all this, the data, the figures. If it's like you are dealing with quantitative research, so like the figures that you are sharing, the charts, this, that, you need to apply to what that's why you need to refer only to authentic, reliable sources. So like, so when you want to support your claims in the research, you should make sure that whatever you are sharing is authentic, reliable, someone who is an expert. Nowadays, with our contemporary, what you call it, this multimedia and, social media, there are those, unfortunately, they are not experts. You see that he's whatever, some of them, even though they are coming from a certain background, maybe, and whether they have the expertise. So some of those who share knowledge today and share views, arguments, they are not experts. They are not, authorities. When they talk about authorities, he's not an authority. Let's say you want to judge a hadith authenticity, you should refer to also the experts and those who are what we call it authority in the field. To what extent they are authorities? Someone is, let's say, even contemporary, 25 years of writing, of teaching, of this and that, and in his area of, and he, to the extent that he becomes or she becomes known that they are authorities in this field, whatever the field. social science, revealed knowledge, okay, or other also disciplines, scientific and applied science, let's say in this case. So we have always three areas of study. Anyway, there is maybe due to the time, there is an example for exercise. There is an exercise, like there is a study. There is a study links coffee to longer life. You know, everyone will take this if you want to take it for granted. You know, it could be this is maybe also this need to be evaluated. Okay, something came to my mind just now. At the times of fabrication of hadith, you know, they found out, our scholars, those who are authorities in the field of hadith, they found that sometimes it is like someone who is, he's not a muhaddith, he claims that there is a hadith about certain food. Why? Because he is a trader, or like someone, he's someone in the market who wants, and there are real fabricated hadith is based on that. So this, because the person himself is not, and most of our students, or many, let's say, well, let's say in your research, when you find the hadith, no matter what the area, okay, history, any types of ilm or this or claim, or we need to see the degree of the hadith. And doing that has to be based on reliable sources. And I remember when I was doing my PhD long time ago, about 40 years, alhamdulillah, our scholars, they said, be careful. Let's say, don't write a hadith, one hadith in your, let's say, research without evaluating the authenticity of the hadith. And you know, they frightened us. He said, otherwise you will be subject. We will not say you might be a subject. من كذب علي متعمدا فليتبوأ مقعده من النار. That the one who makes a lie about the Prophet's saying, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فليتبوأ, that he will be subject to punishment. Okay, so that's why, whether it's hadith or we are talking about hadith, what about other claims by other, let's say, experts or scholars? So we have to make sure that there is a support, it's reliable, whatever the claim is. Okay, we need to evaluate. So before, that's why they say you may, in the data collection, my Ustaz Akram Al-Umari, Akram Diya Al-Umari from Iraq, by the way, he says that your collection could be, let's say, 100 pages, what you collect. But he said, after that, when you refer to this collection, maybe you will be using only 1/3. So you might say, oh, I am wasting. No, you are not wasting. You are, at the beginning, you are collecting data referred to your thesis, to your topic of study, okay? But once you start what you call verbalizing, composing, writing your what you call it chapters and topics and subtopics, you need to be careful. So you might say, oh, this is not reliable. This has no proof. There is no evidence. There is no, so you just exclude. But actually, you have done the right thing. That's my ustaz. Why? Because don't exclude from the beginning. Exclude when it comes to actual writing and sharing your thesis with others. Okay, sub-skill 2, assessing arguments. So we have assessing claims. Okay, I remember in also Gumbak one thesis, what do you call it, discussion or examination session. So Viva, and one of the examiners, one of the main points, you know, he was telling the student, or whatever master or PhD, I forgot, but he said, one major issue in your thesis is that, you know, there are a lot of claims, but those claims have not been evaluated. They have not been evaluated. You just say, oh, you bring in the quotations, you quote, you know, opinions, and let's say discussions by others, and no, we are responsible for what we are writing. We have to evaluate. So now, what does it mean? Sub-skill number 2, assessing arguments. Assessing arguments means judging the overall strength of a claim and its reasons. You are judging a claim, could be half line or one line. But now, in arguments, you are talking about, it could be a paragraph. It could be 3 lines. It could be, you know, so you are talking about a more general or overall assessment. Okay? And so not only the claim, but also whatever the reasons, the discussions, that the whatever that is related to that, also to that, to the claim. So it's not only the claim, but also whatever based on the claim, you make a judgment. This judgment, if the claim is wrong, the judgment will be wrong. It's like that. It involves determining whether the premises of an argument provide strong logical support for the conclusion. So in logic, you have the premises and you have the conclusion. That's why one of the fallacies, and by the way, maybe inshallah in the future we might have one session for fallacies and how do we examine fallacies. It's very important. There are now many good references and books written by experts in the field about fallacies. By the way, generally speaking, we don't care much about fallacies. If you are not exposed to fallacies, fallacy, there is an argument, it looks like okay, Okay, but there is a problem, between the premises and the conclusion. That's why one fallacy, they call it doesn't follow. It doesn't follow. Okay, so, and Al-Imam Al-Ghazali, by the way, he's in one of his writings, he said that someone might claim that because of this and that, I forgot that this is long time, because of this and because of that, there are two premises, then such and such. He said maybe there could be the premises could be okay, but the conclusion, there is a problem with the conclusion. So, and actually whatever let me, we cannot take it for granted that's because of this and of that, then such and such, the conclusion. That's why, like in ISTAC, we have, and in other kulliyas and other departments, and there is one chapter for discussing the, for discussing the findings. You have a lot of finding, and especially if it's quantitative, by the way, especially if it's quantitative, then you need to assess and to see the also the credibility and behind any statement or logic or made or conclusion, conclusions. Okay. Also, you are asked, based on some departments and kulliyas, you are asked to write a conclusion. This conclusion could be, let's say, half a page. After each chapter, you are requested to write one half page to 1 page about the conclusion. Okay, so this conclusion, be careful when you be careful when you write the conclusion. It's not that you are just making it up. They also said it's only a made up. Your conclusion is like some kind of fabrication. You try to put it this way because it's not based on the discussions. Your conclusion, and it's an art, brothers and sisters. I want to tell you that you have to read about like what they call summaries and the difference. Some students might not be able to differentiate between summary and conclusion. Summary is a summary, the conclusion is a conclusion. Mostly, we use both in the research, but the conclusion is more, maybe, it's more important to for evaluation. Okay, whenever you make a, so there is, there are in the writing skills. If you study, that's why if you study language, English language or Arabic language, you are supposed, so like there is speaking skills, writing skills, etc. Okay, so conclusions should, that's why we should be careful and write the conclusion in a way that it is logical. Okay. So that, remember the one I just mentioned, I don't know whether the one in Gombak that I told you there was a discussion, viva discussion, and one of the examiners said, a lot of arguments, but those arguments are not verified. So whenever, that's why good arguments should be also put in a academic form or format, So that's why I said, writing a conclusion, so it should be following certain format. And don't just make an argument and run away. It's not enough. There should be comments. There should be further discussion. There should be further discussion, verifying why would you consider either an argument by you want the others to accept, or you quoted an argument and in your research as a way of supporting one of the discussions in your research. So you just bringing in or quoting the argument is not enough. We need, you need to, you need also, you are responsible. You need to make comments, proper comments. You need, why you are bringing in such, let's say, argument? It's not enough just to state one argument. What do you mean by that? What is your aim? What is your, so you have to tell about all this. You have to tell the reader. You have to tell the reader. And the first reader, unfortunately, is the examiners. Either two or three examiners. I say unfortunately. But actually it's fortunate. Why? Because, before publishing an article, it's given to two examiners. Before we pass a thesis, it is tested by two or three examiners. Or these examiners would say, this study is commendable, this good, it's all the logical discussions are strong, supported. So it's an academic. That's why we call it academic writing. Academic, whether it's the research or the article, academic article. Okay. The report emphasizes that evaluation is about judging, in the middle there, judging the logical strength of actual or intended inferential relationships. Remember, we discussed in a previous workshop about the inferential relationships. Okay, we discussed that. Now, the logical strength of the actual or intended. Actual. And here, maybe it's good to share with you that there is in the discussion of when we talk about let's say views, when we talk about opinions, writings. Okay, we we need to see the strength. He said either actual, the actual is what the person actually meant by saying. Intended, that could be the perceived. Okay, the perceived discussion, the perceived argument. Okay, and there's always we should based on what they call communicative thinking skill, what style? Communicative thinking style. We need to bridge the gap between what is the actual and what is the intended. Even by the way, even whatever we quote, this could be a misperceived what we call understanding of an issue. Okay, so like you are quoting. So this could be either you as a person, what is the intended inferential relationship, or even, so when you write and make connections, you have to be careful in a way that there's no gap of what is the actual and the intended inferential relationship. And here, sometimes we are caught up in the middle of discussion or our writing. So you need to look at the quality of the evidence and the logic used. You see there are two items here in the second subskill. You need to see the quality of the evidence. There is an evidence, but what is the quality of the evidence regarding authenticity, regarding relevance, regarding this, that, based on the criteria that we used. And maybe the evidence, the evidence is okay, but the logic in discussion is not. Two separate issues sometimes. For example, you are given an example for practice. I will share with you in the group, inshallah. You might do the exercise. Okay. How to learn assessing arguments. After you have analyzed an argument, you have to ask, is the evidence strong enough to support the claim, let's say? And number two, does the reasoning make sense? Okay, I want to bring in one of the controversial issues, like that we run into. Okay, I'm not making any. I'm just sharing. Okay, like about like in Ramadan, there are discussions about عدد الركعات, how many rak'ah, this, that, is it 8, is it this, is it 12, is it 23 with the witr, is it 23? This a debatable, or it's a debatable issue. Sometimes we get into arguments without realizing, you know, you might take for awam, for Oran awam, it's okay. They might follow an opinion of one view or another. But let's say for scholars, for talabatul ilm, knowledge seekers, you know, it shouldn't be the case. I mean, this is just, I'm bringing, people have, you know, clashes of opinions. They don't even know about the background. Let's say the supporting evidence for this view or that view. Okay? Those who say that it's, you know, like it's not only 23, it can be even more. Because the Prophet ﷺ say, Salatul Layli matna matna. So it's open. Okay, but anyway, it's just, this is an evidence, but you run into other evidence which clash with this evidence. Okay, how scholars looked into this evidence? How strong is the evidence itself? What are the arguments about the evidence? So that is sharing with you that how do we learn assessing arguments. That's why some of our mashayikh scholars, they say, don't run into um, a debate or a discussion without having proper knowledge or background. That's why even there is an imam, you know, like, and he says, I know, I met in my life some some imams on the masjid who are asked by the ma'mumin about the hukum, about something, okay, about the view of the scholars or Sharia, and they will say, okay, give me a chance until, let's say, it's Zuhur time, give me a chance until Isha, or let's say tomorrow. If it's like you are giving a maw'idah or a dars or a khutbah or whatever, someone asks you and about something which maybe you didn't even raise up, but it's related. Anyway, don't just run into the situation where you just provide whatever you just know. Maybe something you didn't review for a long time. There is no harm. There is no harm. Okay. No harm in taking time to be exposed to the you know, discussions of the scholars. We are talking about debatable issues, which we run into in the masjid or in, whether it is in Ramadan or otherwise. Okay, does the reasoning make sense? The report, Delphi report, description of ideal critical thinker as prudent in making judgment. He should be, every one of us should be prudent in making their judgments, which suggests that you should be careful and thoughtful in your assessment. You should be careful and thoughtful in your assessment. This applies to your research, to your thesis. Be careful. That's why, brothers and sisters, I want to share with you also, I run into Viva where the PhD, it's a PhD student in another university, by the way. I will not name the university, but anyway, the student, you know, from the writing, lot of mistakes, typo or otherwise, and a lot of, and I would like to refer to an important issue in writing thesis. And that is, before you submit your final draft of the thesis, you have to do two things. Editing, in terms of editing. You cannot do it yourself, give it to someone. There are those who will do it 75 cents per page. We have, I believe. Maybe now it's 1 ringgit or something like that. So it's better that you, this will, by the way, I run into also other Viva sessions where one examiner, he said, you know, I wasn't able even to evaluate the thesis properly because I was so much engaged in correcting the mistakes, linguistic, typo, this, that, many other. So two things you need to do. Number one, you need to review your thesis. Not only once. If you can do it 3 times, that even, but maybe not less. Maybe 3 times. At the least, you go through your thesis. You know why? Because when you were coming up with the thesis, you cannot blame also the supervisor. Yeah, sometimes the supervisor would say, "Oh, I was waiting and waiting. The student submitted the whole thesis, and I was not able even to, you know, provide my comments." Actually, the supervisor should be responsible. And I remember one student, PhD student, submitted. I told him, you need to submit chapter by chapter. Don't come at the end and submit the whole thesis. I need to go through slowly. So anyway, he wrote the first chapter. I have gone through. I returned the chapter. I told the student, number one, there are quotations, but there is no quotation marks. We don't know which is which. Where is your comments? Okay, like, you know, your observations and comments. I cannot tell. And many times there is no referencing. Do you know that not referencing, the fail to reference a piece of information is considered, you know, plagiarism. You know that. It's considered as plagiarism. You take, I was appointed, I told you about the story, and it's considered plagiarism. You refer to someone else is writing because the one who's going to examine your thesis is an expert. The appointed examiner is an expert in the field. So it means that he's familiar with who said what. They say, oh, this information looks like taken from Ibn Khaldun or taken from such and such. But the student is not, is not. And then, you know, in this case, the lecturer, the professor, you know, he went to the Ibn Khaldun and he found that this information is taken from Ibn Khaldun without referring. So that's considered, so that he failed the PhD student. Why? Because he said this is considered three, it's only three, even though it's only three places. He said he should be failed. So he give him failure for the examining the. Okay, you know, where I was appointed by the rector to lead a committee because, you know, one examiner said it's okay. This examiner said it's not okay. It should be failed. So which one we should? So they appointed me. We had a committee, and we need to interview the student. And in this interview, we came to know that there was a good reason for the, but it cannot be accepted. Once he submitted the final draft or the completed draft is not acceptable. Whatever he told us, he went through certain problems, and including computer problems, this, that, and luckily he brought with him. He said these are one full bag, you know, 3-4 drafts of the thesis. He said, you can see it is there in the first draft, but I forgot to include in the final draft. Still, you are responsible. You cannot say you cannot say that, you know, you cannot claim that in the viva. Okay, so anyway, since that's a long story, anyway, that the main thing is you need to review your thesis before final submission, because it's a responsibility. So when you review, you have, don't read it with your with only your eyes. When I joined UIA, we used to have also some academic what we call it programs monthly, where we review a book to what we call it lecturers. It's all lecturers. So they will review a book. And then after that, so those two will tell us about their book review. And then all the other lecturers will start discussing about the book, that book. Usually it's selected literature, you know, in usually controversial issues, by the way. But I want to share with you, I said, you know, at least 3. Why you Prof. Jamal, why you say at least 3 times? So this professor, he's my senior. This was in Gumbak, by the way. So this professor said, you know, with smiling, he said, I have read this book 3 times. Okay. First time is with my eyes. With my eyes. Second time is with the eyes of someone else. Someone else. This someone else could be, you know, like someone who has a different view, has a different opinion. And then the third time, he said, is with a critical eye. Critical lenses. So, brothers and sisters, at least you need to, if you can have, you might claim, you know, some students are very, what you call it, they are pushed because of the time limit. They said, if I don't submit now, then I would submit next semester. This I maybe self-sponsored. I have to pay for another semester. Anyway, something like that. Or I exhausted all my period of study time. I cannot ask for more extension. Okay, so there are many different reasons. Like the one I told you that when we had the Viva, even though there are good arguments, there are good discussions, but there are many places where there are questions, there are problems, there's no comment, there is no this. So the student was given major corrections. Major corrections. He need to spend one, he said, oh, I was pushed because of my scholarship limit. Actually, my scholarship, when I submitted, that was the last semester for my scholarship. And for those on a scholarship, I share with you my Ustaz, Sheikh Yahya al-Yahya, Hafidhahullah. He says that he was giving me advice. He said, try to finish one semester before. Whether you are on scholarship, whether you are on self-sponsorship or whatever. He said, try to finish. Don't tell yourself, I have 2 years. I have enough time. Yeah, remember the race between the turtle and the arnab, the rabbit. So he said, you need to work on your thesis continuously and try to finish before time so that you have time to review. Submitting you are responsible. The minute you submit your thesis to the iMonitor or Viva, iViva, you have to submit to iViva. The minute you submit, you become responsible. You cannot make any claims. You cannot say, I don't have time. I don't have this or that. So please, prudent in making judgment. Make your thesis your best exercise in practicing this skill. I shared with you some, like things related to this or that real life, applications. But the best, what we call it, practice. حاسبوا أنفسكم قبل أن تحاسبوا. The best exercise for critical evaluation is when you apply into your thesis, chapter by chapter. Not only you wait until the end, even chapter by chapter, before you submit even to the supervisor. Try to review, try to see, look at with a critical mindset or with a critical lenses. As this David Levy, I told you it's one of the good books in critical thinking. He talks about lenses because we see the world, we see anything in front, including our thesis, we see it through certain lenses. So don't use the normal lens. Rather, you use the critical thinking lenses for every chapter that you write. And then, so if you do that carefully, at least one critical review after you finish, maybe even your supervisor tell you, okay, you can submit. Maybe you don't know. your supervisor. Maybe he skipped. I don't know. Maybe he skipped some of the chapters or arguments or this or that. It happens. We are humans. So you say, okay, even after your supervisor gives you the comments and observations, go once more before final submission. And when you do that, practice this evaluation skill. Evaluation skill. Okay? You want to be in the future, you want to be appointed as a examiner. You have to develop the skills for examining other people writing. That is also a good practice, actually, especially at certain levels of academia. So assessing other people in terms, assessing their arguments. Actually, you should do that in the selected data. When you read, because, you know, in writing up your thesis, you have done certain reading and collection of data. So once you, at the beginning, maybe there is no problem, just collect whatever there. But at the final stage, once you start writing, you have also to apply evaluation. So this evaluation skill applies for you, and every one of us applies in two different ways. In terms of what you collect, the data that you collected, and in terms of your writing, your own writing. We have to also. So, and this will be more discussed in our workshop number 6, the self-evaluation. You know, how do we improve our fair-mindedness? That is what is called fair-mindedness. Okay. So once after you have analyzed argument, ask, is the evidence strong enough? And does the reasoning make sense? Okay. I think it doesn't, no, we still have, we will skip this one. This is an example for exercise. So I will share with you, and you may do it later. One also, we are spending more time on evaluating, you know, arguments. Okay, look for logical flaws. The Delphi report defines critical thinking as self-certifying human phenomena. Self-certifying human phenomena. Look for, this means, what does this mean? This means you must constantly check your own reasoning and the reasoning of others for mistakes. Okay, that's what I mentioned actually previously, just now. Okay, in doing so, in evaluation, you have to be objective. A good evaluation is objective. And here we are talking about fair-minded in evaluation. You have to be, especially in comparing views, especially in judging other people's views, or as I mentioned, dealing with biases. Maybe you are dealing with 2 different or 3 different sources of information, but you are pro one source of information or one opinion, but not the other one. You have to be objective. Okay. Use a simple checklist. This is just to remind us, is the claim clear? Is the evidence provided? Is the source reliable? Does the logic hold up? You know, remember the premises, the conclusion. Does the logic hold up? So this is a checklist. You can use it in your evaluation for others' data or your own data. Here is mentioned the goal of evaluation. In the Delphi report, critical thinking is essential as a tool of inquiry. Critical thinking is essential as a tool of inquiry. And I spent ample time in one of my previous sessions about the inquisitive mind. We are talking about inquisitiveness. So don't be passive. When you write and when you read for others, even when you listen, including my presentation today, you have to have an inquisitive mind. Why this? Why that? Can we take it for granted? You know, things like that. We can just go through I will share with you, practice with everyday situations. To build up. You see, evaluation skill is a built up. It's not a magic. It's not, don't depend on, on certain inherited, you say, my father and grandfather are very this and that, No, for sure, if your father and grandfather were great scholars, they for sure they had this kind of building up their evaluation skills. So evaluation skill comes through practice, and you have to build it up. The more you practice it, the more you build up your critical mind. These are more also suggestions for practicing evaluation, but due to our time, keep an open mind. You see, now we have fair mind and we have open mind. That's two different, as you know. And willing to consider. And willing, this is the main message here in this slide. Okay? A critical thinker has to have an open mind, or need to be open-minded, and also willing to consider. Sometimes, in writing, I tell you, in writings, we sometimes, due to certain, especially when it comes debatable issues, debatable topics, differences of opinions, differences, dealing with difference in any writing, you are thesis, you are dealing with maybe multiple views. You are dealing with, okay, including yours. So you should be open-minded and willing to reconsider. Maybe you have already formed an opinion about something. oh, if you are not open-minded, you will not be able to accept, views from others, or from other people, other sides. So this is a very important issue. Even you had, already formed an opinion, don't, you have, or a judgment, you have to test it. You have to be open-minded. Maybe there is a different evaluation is a confidence builder. Well, we talked about how to build up this skill. The best evaluators are skeptical but open. And skepticism is, this is as they call it, the academic. It's not a matter of sophisticism, rather than it's a matter of academic skepticism. Academic skepticism, that's what we want. And with, this academic skepticism, you need to be open. The minute something proves strong and evident and clear, then you have to go for it. The key to evaluation, we are coming to an end. The Delphi report states that the critical thinking involves using broad intellectual criteria, where we mentioned this again and again, such as clarity, credibility, accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, breadth, significance, and fairness. Actually, these are the criteria for critical thinking. And there is one small textbook. I have a copy, by the way. So booklet, it's about 30 pages, by Richard Paul and his wife, Linda. He's an expert in critical thinking, an American expert. By the way, his book points out these criteria. Always look for clarity, credibility, accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, breadth, significance, and fairness. If you do that, then you are a good researcher. You are a good critical thinker, and with having this in mind, it enables you to confidently distinguish between valid, well-supported information and that which is weak, biased, or fallacious. And I told you about the importance of studying maybe or reading books on fallacies. One of the good I came across, maybe now there is a more, is published in 2000. It's about refuting, it is refuting. I might share it with you. It's available online. I have even summarized the book, by the way. Maybe I'll share with you the summary. Refuting, what do you call it? Refuting misconceptions or something like that. It talks about fallacies. I forgot now, that long time ago, more than 15 years. I used to teach it to my postgraduate students, by the way, and I recommend it. That's why I'm recommending for reading. Okay, so we we come to an end for our session. Sorry for taking a bit long time. We can go for another 10 minutes, maybe, because it's Ramadan and but I don't mind. If you have any comment, observation, you want to share with us something that you think that is beneficial. Yes, you can use the...
Professor, so we live in a time where there are lot of misinformations that are circulating, that sometimes that are posed as truth. So for example, if you look at the American media, they are repetitively circulating misinformation, which kind of becomes a robust view. So how do we tackle that? Even so, just to add to it, even in the Western academia, the way, for example, they see the Islamic discourse is sometimes quite problematic. So that is the kind of majority view, and that has more strength. And when we try to write from our point of view, how do we make our claim, I mean, not make our claim stronger, but to make with the accept or make it...
Actually, to make it, it's mentioned in our discussion, number one, apply the criteria, the critical thinking criteria for any piece of information. You know, about the clarity, about the precision, about this, about that, all what has been mentioned by the Delphi report and Richard Paul book or booklet. Okay. Number two, before that, you need to be skeptical. What we ended up, be skeptical, but with open-mindedness. And fair, for sure, also with fair-mindedness. Even sometimes, you see, we learn from the story reported by Al-Bukhari, Abu Huraira, radiallahu anhu, was appointed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is relevant to your question. Appointed, Abu Huraira used to stay in the Al-Masjid al-Nabawi. And there is a lot of food. Usually this is dates, kurma, tamr, in the masjid, at the back of the masjid. To support those, there are more than how many, 30 or who came from Mecca. They don't have a place to stay, so they stayed in As-Suffa. It's called As-Suffa. So anyway, the Prophet ﷺ appointed Abu Huraira as to be the guardian for these dates. Okay, so at one night, he noticed that someone is trying to steal the dates. So he caught him. So he was crying, please let me go. I will not do it again. Okay, so he let him go. Second night, he came again and he caught him trying to steal. So he was even more, maybe most of you know the story. So again, he said, started crying, give me a chance, another one more chance. The third time he came, he told Abu Huraira, he said, he said, I will have to report you to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will not let you go go this time. So he told him, is it okay if I tell you something beneficial to you, and this is beneficial to you in your life, daily life? I will, and nobody else maybe will tell you. Okay, he said, what is it? Let me. So you see now, open-mindedness. Abu Huraira didn't say, oh, you anta aduwullah, this, that. He said, no, give him a chance. What is it that you want to tell me? So he told him, when you go to bed, don't ever sleep before you recite Ayatul Kursi. Allah will save you from Satan or Shaitan the whole night. I don't know whether, I encourage all of us. Sometimes we fail to, because of tiredness, this or that. Recite Ayatul Kursi before you sleep. Okay, so this information was valuable to Abu Huraira, so accepted. He let him go. But then, after the third time, he told the Prophet about the story. So this is the whole story and the comment. What was the comment of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, "Sadaqaka wa huwa kadhub." He told you the truth, even though he's a liar. You see, so I'm telling you, even though we are skeptical, deal with open-mindedness. And if there is a clashing, many times there is clashing. So clashing the news or views. So try to be fair-minded and objective as well. Always practice what we have been told in this in this report, and that is, always. I told you about the story that one time one of my colleagues sent something which looks like something important, but there was no link, there is no masdar, there is no reference. Always look for the reference, look for the argument, look for the reasoning, look for the evidence. Is there an evidence? And though in these reports, there is a lot of judgment without evidence. Is there an evidence? So actually, whatever has been said in our discussion is actually a good, what you call it, answer to your question. And we need to exercise, as it is mentioned, we need to build up. You see, when you build up your this critical thinking skill of evaluation, you practice it many times, not for months, for years, then you will be faster in evaluation. That's the good news. So you will be faster in evaluation. Others will be confused. You will not. Others will take them long time to assess or to evaluate. For you, it's a matter maybe of seconds or a minute, 2 minutes. Why? You are different from your colleague, from your, it's because you have developed the skill and you are good at using it for a long time. So you become skillful in evaluation. After that, you will spend less time in dealing. You might even you decide it doesn't even deserve to be looked at. It's wasting my time. Sometimes to that extent, even in research, in whatever we see, or, it might not even, once you become skillful, this doesn't even deserve my attention. Yes. We can have one more questions from the sister side, maybe, or comment, or my question to you, do you think it's valuable, this what I'm sharing with you? Without bias, with open-mindedness. You say, oh, kind of. That's a test also, I hope, because otherwise maybe I need to relook into my presentations. Yes. For everybody. For everybody. Yes. We have the sister also from architecture, right? Well, not. Okay. We have, alhamdulillah, students from different backgrounds. Yeah. Okay. How many from ISTAC? Only two or three. Other kulliyas tell us from economy or from laws. Oh, mashallah. What is platinum? Okay. 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 Brother Muhammad is one of our UIA staff also. Mashallah. Can you use the mic?
And next lectures could be focused on fallacies and techniques for evaluating false, not really false, but half truths. Because now you can see social media is like really with a lot of AI. And it's really hard, especially with the deep fake. It's quite difficult to actually assess whether it's real or not. Even Grok, which is supposed to be the most reliable, to kind of evaluate the truth, is now failing.
Another thing, we have now a society with over information. There's a lot of information out there. It could be some of them really reliable and not really at all. So what kind of society do you think we will have in the future with over information? We will have like citizens really informed, or it's just who will try to ignore because there's just too much information out there?
Again, the answer, you have to apply there are about 14 different criteria for evaluation. Okay, one of them is, by the way, maybe it's not mentioned, relevance. One of the criteria is relevance. Maybe we found out some theses are very big, but why? Because simply a lot of discussions are not relevant. A lot of discussions are not relevant. And so it could be also you as a researcher where you include in your thesis things that are not relevant. So relevance is one of the criteria, the 14 criteria. So this criteria, it's good. I will encourage you to read the book about the criteria, or I might ask Sister Nasreen to help us to scan the book, maybe, and share it in the group. I really encourage you to read the book. It's only about criteria. It's good to use them and apply them in this huge, as the sister said, we have a huge information. We are an era of the what we call it, with technology, the revolution, the what do you call it, information revolution. So that's where we need the critical mind, brothers and sisters. Barakallahu fikum. And with this, maybe because the time is, we are running. So with this, inshallah, we end up where our session for today. Barakallahu fikum. May Allah bless you all. And reward you all. Your coming and those who are also watching, and the audience there out there, you are a source of what you call it, support, because this can also encourage me to further share with you the knowledge that I have, inshallah, especially with regard to how do we use critical thinking skills into research and daily life as well. Barakallahu fikum. We end up with tasbih al-kafara.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It would be really great if everyone can give us a feedback. As well, you can scan the IATN QR for your CTD points. Thank you.
And thank you, Sister Nasreen, she's our staff in ISTAC for marketing, and she's doing a great job.
Thank you, Prof. Ada. Jelas masuk ini. IATN. Ni kalau ada tak link item tu masuk dapat 20 poin. Boleh ke?